Mental health and comedy. How do you put the two together?
Well, for me, very easily, because I started off as a comedian doing stand-up comedy, and then for me, then my mental health got in the way, and then I dealt with that, and it was just kind of a natural combination to be able to do the two, to be able to perform for audiences, make them laugh, but also help them to look at their own behaviours and how maybe we might be treating ourselves as good as we can be doing.
I mean, you say, you know, life is too serious to be taken, to be taken seriously. I mean, does that play a part as well?
Yeah, absolutely. And I finished that off by saying, besides, no one gets out alive anyway. And that's the thing, that's the common factor, is that we've one life and it's about making the most of it, and it's about taking responsibility and how we can help ourselves. And unfortunately, some people do suffer mental health because of circumstances, because of experiences that have been out of their control, but that doesn't mean they have to suffer for the rest of their lives. And that's what I'm really passionate about.
And you're a counsellor as well. I mean, you've started to help people suffering from mental health because of your own experience.
Yes.
Can you tell me about that?
Yeah, absolutely. So, I mean, I've had depression for years. I still have it. But the difference is that I know where it comes from. I know how to manage it. And the thing is that when you understand your mental condition, it can make a huge difference as to how to manage yourself, how to manage your mind and your emotions. So all of that has helped me. I mean, I had a fantastic counsellor when I was in my 20s going through a real deep depression. And at that time, when you're in a deep depression, you feel so isolated, you feel so worthless. People really suffer when they're in that space, and it's about now educating people and helping them in a way that I was helped too. And I feel I'm in such a privileged position to be able to do that. I don't regret any of the stuff I've been through because it's made me who I am today.
And you say that educating people, that's what you're doing with your tour at the moment, isn't it?
I am, absolutely. I'm in the middle of a Midlands theatre tour, so I've performed like at Lichfield Garrick and up in Redditch, and my next show is at the Gatehouse in Stafford on Thursday the 23rd of June, and that's where I'm combining mental health with humour. So showing how not to take ourselves too seriously, showing how we can slip into certain behaviours, so a bit like somebody playing the victim but then being the martyr at the same time. So it's like, I'll do everything, I'll be the martyr, but then nobody helps me. Why am I doing everything on my own? Because you don't ask for support. And it's about being aware, putting your hand up and being aware of your own behaviours.
I think people are scared to do that as well, because there is still a massive stigma around mental health. People are scared to actually think, oh, maybe I am suffering from a mental health issue.
Yeah. At the end of the day, show me somebody who's normal. Show me somebody that doesn't at some point in their life feel like I'm not coping or I'm going out of my mind. The reality is that we all feel like that at some point. So a big part of this is allowing ourselves to be vulnerable, and that we don't have to pretend we're happy all the time, because we're human beings. We're not actually happy all the times.
And how important is it for you to help people suffering from mental health, because you've suffered it yourself? Yeah,
that is really important to me, and I suppose there's a confidence in that I know what I'm talking about because I've been through it. And then working as a counsellor, when I empathise, I genuinely empathise because I know what that person is going through. The difference is that going back about 15 years ago, when I was in a deep depression, I didn't have access to online videos or stuff like that to really educate myself about depression. So I felt even more isolated, and I easily could have been taken over by that depression and end up committing suicide, because when you're in that place, it does feel like the end of the world. You don't want to be here anymore. You're not coping. But if I had access to information, videos about other people suffering, if I can make sense of it, well, then it's not so bad. So that's why I'm just so passionate about helping other people who are suffering, that they're absolutely not alone. I mean, 1 in 4 people in the UK, that's something like over 18 million people are suffering mental health.
So before we left you, we were talking about online, the presence of support online and where to go to, because you were saying when you were suffering, there wasn't anything online. Tell me a bit about the campaigns that you're doing.
Yeah, so at the moment it's a mental health online campaign, and what I plan to do is to produce online mental health shows, and the content of these shows will deal with different mental health conditions like OCD, like eating disorders, like depression, suicidal thoughts.
And it's to ensure that awareness is out there for people to seek seek help, isn't it?
Yeah, and for both, for the people who are suffering and for their families and friends, because oftentimes family and friends don't know what to say to somebody who's suffering, and sometimes they can say things like, oh, snap out of it, and think of 3 positive things. Oh, that just shows the lack of understanding, that it's not that you're not grateful for what's around you, you are, but you're just in such a negative place that actually you just need to be listened, you just need to be heard, you just need somebody to be there for you and not be telling you what to do.
And aside from these online campaigns, you were talking as well about a voluntary support group that you're running in Lichfield.
That's right.
That's also for people to come along to and not be judged, isn't it?
Absolutely. So I run a support group on the last Wednesday of every month, and that is a safe space for people who are struggling with their mental health, just to be able to talk about it and not be judged. There's something very therapeutic when you have a group of people and people start talking, they go, oh, I do that. Yeah, and it's like, oh, wow, it's not just me. Again, you see, there's a massive feeling of isolation when you're going through mental health issues. So the more you can kind of get out there, connect with people, the more you can educate yourself, the more you can feel empowered that you can do stuff about it, and that there's an element of hope rather than feeling like that there's nowhere else to go.
Yeah, and it seems like you've got all bases covered. You've got workshops as well. I mean, can anyone just come along to these?
Yeah, anybody that wants to come along. So I host mind management workshops, and what these workshops do is they build a person's confidence, and it gives them the space to find out, well, who are you? Because oftentimes we're on the treadmill of life. We don't often think, well, I'm doing this stuff, but who am I? What do I want? And then being able to challenge those negative thoughts so that you can reframe your thinking.
I mean, all these workshops, is it because, is mental health provision in the UK adequate? Is there enough out there to help people?
I think it's a lot better. I mean, even where I run my private practice, different organisations, they work from there, and people who have been referred to through the NHS. So I see the work that has been done firsthand. I think that some of the issues is the waiting list. Oftentimes when somebody hits rock bottom and they decide, that's it, I need help, that's a brilliant point to get them into counselling straight away. So that's the difficulty with the public kind of, what facilities or what's available. But I think it's so much better. And I think as well as that, with social media and all that, there's ways where people can set up their own groups. You don't have to wait for somebody else to provide it for you. Take the initiative. That's what I would encourage people to do. Because the more you help other people, the more you're helping yourself too.
And how important is it to have somewhere to go to for these people to seek help?
Yeah, very important. Talking is so important. Just by getting those words out, just by communicating so you don't feel so insular, that is really important. So to get to groups, to get to one-to-one counselling, even having a doctor who's very empathic, and different ways as to how you can cope, whether you go down the medication route combined with talking therapy, it's whatever you need, and knowing the options that are available. There's nothing worse than feeling like there's nothing you can do. There's lots you can do, and that's what I want to show in these online shows. There's so much you can do to help yourself.
I mean, because that's something you benefited from yourself, talking about it, isn't it?
Yes, yeah. And certainly doing the book as well, that made a huge difference for me, because my depression wasn't going away, and I thought, this is ridiculous, because obviously I've trained as a counsellor. I know rationally that these negative thoughts are not true, and I wanted to get to the bottom of it, and I did by writing the book about it.
Yeah.
And that has made a huge difference by making sense, why am I depressed?
Yeah.
What's fueling those thoughts? And once you can find that out, bingo, you can figure out how to deal with it.
And obviously you've been doing a lot with your experiences, like you mentioned, on tour at the moment. What sort of feedback have you had from your shows so far?
It has been amazing. The last show that I did, I had one woman come down to me, put her hand on my shoulder and say to me that I now know I'm not to blame for the stuff that happened to me in my childhood. I'm ready to let that go. I'm ready to do something about it. Wow. Because oftentimes when we have stuff that's happened, negative stuff, we tend to blame ourselves. That's a massive part of the problem. When we look at it objectively, then we can think, hang on, why did somebody bully me? Maybe it wasn't down to me. Maybe they would be bullied themselves. Yeah. And when we come at it from a place of understanding, we can learn to forgive and let go.